Hey, this is Rich over at TVP Live with another quick tips tutorials brought to you by Photoshop Elements Tutorials Group. And let's jump right in with today's poster. Wants to know all about high key editing. And I'm sure there might be tutorials and different ways to do it in Photoshop Elements, but you know what? I just learned it for the first time today, and just looking at it, it doesn't look all that hard to me. This is the before and after when I did a search for high key editing. And what I'm looking over here from the original, here's the copy, is that it's not just a matter of adding more brightness or contrast, but it's also retaining some of the darkness in certain areas and highlights. And that's pretty much all I really see. So I'm going to give you a really quick poor man's way that I just figured out on my own how to do. So I'm going to make this left one look pretty much like the right one. So for purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to draw with the polygon tool a box around the original photo. And then since I'm choosing that one layer that I have, I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit copy. So now that makes a copy. If I turn off the original, all we got is our new original photo to work with. I'm going to turn the back one on only so that we can see the right side. So I'm going to lock that one and we don't have to worry about it. So let's pretend we're just working on our top layer photo. What I'm going to first do is make a copy of it. So I'll go duplicate layer, and now I've got two copies. This way I can work on the top one and then also work on the bottom one separately. And on the top one, what I want to do is first brighten up everything so that it's too contrasty and bright. So I'm going to go to Enhance, Lighting, Brightness and Contrast, and I'm going to look at the right one. I'm going to bring the brightness up, and what happens is it's probably going to get overly bright. You see that what's happening? And you see that it doesn't look right because it looks like it's too saturated. So I'm going to try to find a happy medium that kind of looks like the other one at 85%. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to take the contrast and play around with it. That's lower, that's higher. See, the higher I go, the more it looks like this end where you lose definition on certain points. And that's what we want it to do, to try to duplicate that. So now that I got it where I want it, I'm going to hit OK. Now the difference is the color amount, the saturation. So let's go over to Enhance, Color, Adjust Color Saturation, and watch the two. I'm going to take the saturation levels and I'm just going to simply just desaturate it, and look at that, it's starting to look like the other one. I don't want it to be too low, got to leave a little bit of color. So, and that's looking pretty darn close. But what happens is that you lose some of the definition on the highlights or the lowlights here and here. You see that you're losing some of that. So that's why we had the layer underneath that we hadn't touched before. So now what we can do is erase certain points to give that color back in the lips and the eyes. Let's grab the eraser and make a really small point, like 40 points. And now we'll come up here. Make sure we choose that top layer and watch the lips. See how these lips don't have any more color? As soon as I draw them back in, the color comes back in. And that's what we want. We want it to look all overexposed except for certain parts that still look kind of really colorful. So see that? I brought the eyes and the lips back in just like this side is. As a matter of fact, it looks even better because we left the color from underneath. If we really wanted to get that color underneath like this one, I can always go to that bottom layer and then go to Enhance, Color, Hue Saturation, and watch what happens, because remember we just cut the hole out of the top layer so the bottom layer is showing through. So I can take the saturation and take it out completely and it's black and white, or I can overexpose it and give it a really cool look like that, or anywhere in between. When you do the high key editing, it's up to you what you want it to look like. It doesn't have to be exactly like the one on the right. It could be like oversaturated like that, which looks pretty cool, or you can bring it down and undersaturate it like this. Anywhere in between. In our case, I kind of like it a little bit more saturated than the one on the right. So I'm going to leave this at plus 3%. And then watch the lightness. I can bring it darker. I can bring it lighter. See, whatever you want. It's all up to you. I'm going to put it right around there. And if I really want, I can make these low lights even better. If I take the eraser, make a big, I don't know, 250 point eraser and go like this. And I just made the darker points even darker. See that? Like that. So I can just choose little points here to make them dark again. So it's all up to you what you want to do. Hey, this is Rich calling it quits for this tutorial, saying over and out.